Guys, this is Mike, otherwise known as MMOIR on some of the Carrara forums. Some of you may know that I am interested in learning some animation, so what I thought I would do, really a tutorial, but just a recording of me trying to work on some animations. So, the first thing I'm going to do is an exercise that often animators start with, and that's the bouncing ball exercise. And I'm going to start by inserting a cube, which makes sense, I think. Not really. But this cube is going to be our floor, so I'm not really going to explain things step by step. I'm just going to try and explain what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So it's not really a tutorial, but hopefully you can learn something by it. So we will call this table, and we will texture it. Nice table color, dark brown, give it some reflection. That should be okay, and we will now insert a sphere for our bouncing ball, and we will texture this as well. So I wanted this to be like a beach ball type thing or color, so we'll copy this, Control C, and then go here, Control V, and we'll give this a yellow color, and then we will give it some stripes, and we will put this, I want to add a third color, so we'll only go 67% here. So this red stripe is 67%, so we will create another mixer here, drag and drop this to here, go here, and we'll paste back our red, and we will now make this a blue color. And then we will go in here and go 33% or so. Okay, that's good enough for me. I may come back and change this later, as I want this to be a sort of a character, not just a beach ball, but we can do that later. And I will now switch to the 2-view layout, and I'll play with the lighting. So we'll go with this light over here, make it a slightly yellow color or warm color, and I want to have soft shadows on. We'll go like this, see what that looks like. Okay, that's not too bad. Whoops, I want to rotate this guy, so we'll go like this and rotate it. And Control D to duplicate it. And we'll create a bit of a fill light here. We won't have any soft shadows. We'll want this a cooler color, so blue. And we'll lower this value down, something like that. And we will adjust the ambient to a low value and a cool color as well. So now let's do a quick little render here. Oops. Okay, so that's not too bad. Now let's go Control Alt F, and we will sort of do our production frame just so it's sort of where we want our animation, so that's good. Okay, so now let's start some animating. We'll switch to the left side, and we'll zoom in here for a bit. And I'm going to be wanting to squish this ball, so I want to be able to squish this. So hit the caps key, and then I'll move this manipulator handle right to the bottom, and then hit the space or the caps key again, and then if you scale, whoops, it scales from the bottom, which is what I want. Okay, so now let's move this guy up so we can see this here and this up here. So now let's make sure we're at the beginning. We are, and it's 24 frames is okay, and we'll switch to frames per second. And we will move this ball up here just so it's up there at the top of our, just coming in the frame. Okay, so now we will go to the 12th frame, It shows 12 here. And we will lower it. I'm going to want to turn on collision detection. Lower it till it hits and we'll move it forward. We'll go to frame 24, we'll raise it up and move it forward. Go to 36, move it down, move it forward, and we'll do the same thing all the way over till we reach the end here. Go down, over, and then the last frame will just have the ball keep moving forward. So let's scrub through the animation and see. Okay, it's not bad, but there's a little bunch of strange things here. So we will try and fix that. If you play the animation, the bounces don't bounce evenly, and it may be not totally timed correctly on the forward motion. So let's go back to the beginning, and we will hit the graph editor. And if we go in here to the motion tab, and we will go to the position, and we will go to the position of let's do the y-axis first, which is this here. This represents the forward motion of our ball from the starting point to the end point. So it's not too bad, but we should make this a straight line so it goes a little smoother. So just try and make this a straight line by moving these guys here. And you can go like this to make it more apparent as to what you should adjust. Whoops, it snapped over there. Okay, that's not too bad for that. So that should be good. Let's go back and then do a run through. Okay, that's looking pretty good, but now we want to adjust the bounce of our ball, the up and down. It's not totally smooth, like it goes higher, lower, and then it goes back. It's not 100% there, so we'll go to the z-axis. See these two here, if you go here and here, they're the same height, and we should have them a little lower here. So let's go like this and then move this guy down quite a bit. Move this guy here up. If you go to this guy here and watch the ball as I move it, it moves up and down. Okay, so that's good. But if we play the animation, the speed is pretty constant throughout the whole thing. So that's not, it may do for some things, but you want it to look a little more natural. So let's select all of these and select flat tangents. You could probably do spline tangents as well. Let's undo that. Flat tangents. And then these are the bounces where it hits the ground. So I want to make those nice and tight so it doesn't move. It's hits it and bounces. It doesn't stay on the ground. So and I'm shift dragging these handles to constrain it to the axis. And then let's do this one here. Do all of these. Okay, now let's go back. And this is the ball's going to basically follow this path. So let's run it and see what it looks like. You notice it has a bigger hang time up at the top. So it's like here, it's the ball, it's for every frame, like period of time, it's going up quite a bit. So it's moving fast right here. But as it gets closer to the top, it's not moving up as much, but a longer period of time passes. So it's not it's not moving as fast at the top. So it's basically hanging in the air a bit, which is what we're after. So now we can go back to the graph edit or the sequencer, and let's squish the ball at different points in time here. So let's go. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So let's go to the bounces where it hits the ground. So there. Click it, and then we will scale it down. Let's go to this guy here. It's in the air. It's still squished, but we'll fix that later. Go here, it bounces. So let's, on either, I think it's going to be bouncing on every where we want it. So what we're going to do, that's where it bounces. The keyframe before that, we want it basically to be 100% size in the vertical axis. So let's go to the motion tab and add 6.0, which is the size of our ball and all the other dimensions, axes. So now let's copy that, control copy, and go like this, control V. Whoops, we got to go here, control V, and then enter. And then what we can do here, this is one frame before. Oh, we're at the top of the frame anyway, so right here, okay, it's gone back to this. So what we're going to do, I think it's going to be easier this way, is just to hit the keyframes here. Go one after, hit the keyframe and go one back, and we will squish our ball. Okay, now let's drag through it. So it's full up there, 100% in height in the z-axis. The keyframe before it's still 100%. Then it squishes 100%. It's 100% at the top. Okay, it's 100% there. So let's go here. We want it 100% here on either side, and then, well, it's still active, our create keyframe. So let's go here, create keyframe. Here we'll create a keyframe. Whoops, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I don't need these guys here, so let's go like this, select this one, and delete it. It's that one here. I want a keyframe, so let's go like this, and our ball is at 100%. So here, and here, and then we will select our sphere, and we will shrink this down, or squish it, or squash it. Let's go back. So we will squish or squash it again. Go up. Okay, that's looking good. And what we can do up at the top here, if you want, you can actually just make it bigger. Or actually it's up to you what you want your animation to look like. We can go make it bigger at the top. Here, bigger at the top. And here, bigger at the top. It gives it a more cartoony look, or a different look. So now, that's looking pretty good. Let's go into the graph editor again and look at the transform and scaling here. XYZ scaling, and we will go into the Z. Let's zoom, I gotta zoom out a little here. Okay, that's looking pretty good, and we'll go like this, and then we'll go up, and then move it up here like this. So what we can do here is select, these bounces are a little off again, so what we can do is move this guy up. Whoops, I want to be in the T here, so let's just go like this and move this up. So that will be our squish spot. This here is up at the top, that's a little too high. This is at the bottom here. So if you go right on that keyframe, you can see it change in the window here. Okay, so that's got a bit of a alright curve there, and I scroll wheeled up there. Okay, so I think that's looking pretty good. So let's go back out here. Go to the full view. Whoops, and we'll switch to the camera view and run the animation. Okay, that's not too bad. Although I do want to go. Let's go to the sequencer, the camera. At the beginning, I'm at the beginning of the animation. I want to just move, whoops, I don't want to go in, I want to go up and down. So the actual ball is more in the frame more throughout the animation. Okay, so that's looking not too bad. Let's do a render here just to see what the ball looks like. I want this to be more of a character. So let's go into the we'll go into the shader room here, and we will create a bunch of shaders. Let's control duplicate this. Well, I didn't want to duplicate that one. I want to duplicate the default, I guess, and then duplicate again. And let's name some things here. We'll call this skin. We'll call this, let's go back here. We call this eye. We'll call this one eyeball. Nose. There was one, okay, eyelid. Let's change, create another one here. Duplicate. And we will call this eyelid. Say OK. But first, let's go back to the beginning. And we will go into the model room and we will add some of these things to our object. Perhaps I should have created this in our ball in this vertex modeler at first. So I'm going to have to untriangulate this guy so it's a little cleaner of a mesh. So let's add a sphere for our eye. Control insert sphere, OK. I want to do 8. Say OK. Shift S, and I'll scale this down 15%. I'll go like this. And we will scale this or rotate this like this. I'm going to want this in the front view so I can see what our eyeball is looking like. Okay, that's not too bad. On this view, I want to rotate it to match the shape of the face a little better. Okay, that's not bad. So let's go in here and we will double click this one, hit the H key, link the polygons, and we will, I'm using the shift and the drag key here as I do this. So let's call this eye. Say OK. Eye. And then we will click that, and we will deselect all the eye that we just created, and we will call this eyelid. Whoops, lid. And let's crease some of these things here. Let's just select the lines here. Let's go like this, like boom, 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 and then loop it. So only the edges are selected, and we will crease this. Say OK. Now let's create. We'll go like this. Construct, insert, sphere. We'll do another one the same size, 8. We will scale this down, Shift S, and we'll go 10%. And we will move this out here. Scale it down again, probably 50%. And move it into our eyeball. And we need this bigger here still. Okay, and shove it in here. Okay, so that's good. And now let's call this, I think I called this iris, maybe? Anyways, we know what it is. So we are now gonna, let's go back here to the, so we can select all of them. Okay, now we're gonna duplicate this. So Control click this grid till it turns a different color, and Control click that there, so that's our drawing plane is right in the center of our sphere, and Control Shift D. We don't want to weld them together, and there is our eyes. So now let's select some polygons here, and let's H again, link polygons. Go down. Let's first go here and we'll loop this. Whoops. Loop. Extract around. Whoops, one wasn't selected here. Let's do that again. Oh, well, that's good enough for me anyways. So let's go in here and we will move this one in. Go like this, scale this in a little. Move it in as well. And move this one out. And we'll scale this in. I just want the hint or the idea of a nose. I'm not being, whoops. Okay, so that's good, and let's move that down. Okay, something squirrely has happened here, so let's fix this a bit. We'll go like this, go in between, select this one, and make it 0. Just fudge these in here. Okay, so that's good. And we'll smooth this ball just to make our nose look like a nose. Okay, so let's go back here. We're going to have to name this guy here. Use the plus key a bunch of times. We'll call this nose. Say OK. Just do a quick render here and see what it looks like. Okay, so now we got to add or change the textures here for our sphere. So we're going to have to add the textures to our character. So let's add the eyeball. Well, I guess I called it eyeball, not iris. So we'll go the eyelid. Nose. and the eye, which is the whites of the eye. So let's go to our eye first, double click it, sphere, and we will make an eye color, which will just be plain nice and white. And we will double click the eyeball. Where's the eyeball? You'll make it a dark black. No, we gotta switch this here to sphere. Okay. And I think I'm going to make this a bit of a skin color. So let's go to the eyelid and make, we got to change that again. Make this a skin color. And we'll make the nose fairly close. So let's copy this guy here. Go to the nose. Control V. Make it a little redder maybe. And let's do the skin as well. We'll paste this here and make it a paler color. But I don't think we have any skin done yet, so I want to change this guy here too. So let's look at this. Okay, so there's our cool character. So we're going to add a paint shape. So let's go to the paint shape here, rectangular layer. Let's start out with 0. 0 there, 0 there. Let's add a color so we can see when we make a change. So rectangular layer, we go to 1.0. Okay, there it is there. Width is 1.0. And this top here, let's put it like 0.5. Okay, I wanted this sort of to be like a hat. So what we can do, I'll just quickly go like this. We'll copy this, Control C, and I'll paste this into here, Control V. And then here I will just, this is a color, I want the skin color to be here, so we'll just say color. Something's a little squirrely here. We go back, let's see what we did here. Let's undo this a couple times. So go like this, we'll copy this one, just Control C. Go here and then paste it here. So that's better, and we will go here and just do a color here, and we will make this a pink or a skin color. Okay, but we're going to have to fix this hat or my cap for our character. So make it up a little more. So we're going to go like 0.6, a little higher, 0.65. Okay, so that's not bad at all. Although I think I want his eyes to stand out more. So let's click the eyelids and make them darker. Okay. So that's looking good for my character. So let's, if you want, we shall render or do a quick, well, I guess we'll just run this through. Okay, and we'll just run an animation here. We'll do a small one, 320. See what that does. Name it where you want it to go. I'll call this ball bounce. Okay, that's interesting way of typing it. Say no. I'll just ball bounce 1, I guess. Say save, and we'll render this out. Shouldn't take too long. I should change the background color to be a more livelier color than black. So maybe I'll do that. I'll render this out in a bit larger format with a different color in the background. But let's see how it looks. Okay, so I will render this out in a bit with a different color background and a bigger resolution, so it's bigger so you can see things better. So that's the toot, and I will see you later.